Hey everybody, welcome to my latest video. This one is a doozy. It's packed with a whole bunch of stuff. I start off with my friend Kimberly making some plum sauce in 35-degree heat, and some hilarity ensues. We don't do the taste test in this video because she has to leave, so that'll come in the future. But we get the sauce made, and it was a really fun process as well. I also put the camera mostly away for a day and blasted through a whole bunch of jobs, so I share what I got done on that day, and it was quite a bit. I also make a mistake. I make a mistake, and then it allows me to work on a job that I wasn't planning on doing, and I give you a tour of my food forest as well, and there's lots of exciting things happening down there. So it's a pretty busy video. It's a long one. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, give the video a like, and I'll see you again at the end. Hi, Benny. Hi, Jet. Hot enough for you? Hi, Kimbo.
Hi.
So Kimbo has come over for a visit, for some lunch, for some ciders, but mostly to attempt to make some plum sauce. Attempt. So we've got a couple of recipes we're going to try. I've got some plums cut up, and some and some other plums on the tree that we're going to pick off. The problem is that it's about, what, 35 degrees right now?
I'd say it's like 59 degrees.
59 degrees, and I cease being a human at about 35 degrees. So this should be interesting. Let's see if I can form sentences. It should be interesting, which I just said. So we're going to enjoy our lunch, hang out with the dogs, and get to it very soon. So lunch has been eaten. We had a brief reprieve with clouds going over. There was a breeze. Both of those things are gone now, and it's hot as balls, and I think both of us feel like we might die.
The only thing keeping me alive is wine.
It is the white wine with an ice cube in it. So we're going to push through. We're going to see what happens to us. We might be incoherent, but it could make for some entertaining viewing. So I've got all the ingredients behind me laid out. We're going to do 2 recipes and compare them. But first, we need to pick a bowl of plums.
We're going to pick some plums.
That's the technique.
That's the way to do it.
You got it.
I learned from my granny.
Yeah?
In Glasgow.
Classic plum.
Glaswegian technique.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah. Let's go to the plum tree together.
Okay, let's go.
I'm employing the technique.
This Glaswegian technique. Do you need to do two-handed?
Oh, my granny would be proud.
She would be.
I'm choosing the ones I like the most.
Okay. What's the criteria?
Not too hard, not too squishy.
Okay. What about the splits, when they've got the splits in them?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look
That's
at
okay.
this one. You're not going to have that one.
No, nobody wants that one. But what if it's like a mild butt crack?
Let me see.
No, that one doesn't have a
Let me see your butt crack.
That one doesn't have a butt crack.
I don't think any of them do.
Oh, I saw lots of butt cracks earlier.
What were you watching?
Nothing. So we do have plenty of plums to choose from, but now I'm on a mission to find the elusive, the legendary butt crack plum. Here we go. That's, well, I don't know. I wouldn't call that one a butt crack. That's a little bit more.
Here's butt crack.
Yay!
Yay. Okay.
All right, so we've got a bowl. That's about 2 kilos, which is what the recipe says. And yeah, let's go make some sauce. So we've got bowl of the second, bowl of the first has already been pitted and chopped. We've got our wine to keep us going. Cheers.
Cheers.
And now we're just gonna, I guess, get chopping these guys.
Choppy, choppy.
Choppy, choppy. And then we'll add the ingredients into our respective pots and get the sauce on the go. So Kimbo is going on her recipe, making some progress, doing some choppy chop, and I'm getting started on mine. And the first ingredient is 1.5 cups of brown sugar. And lo and behold, this is what I have to work with. So I could have seen on the package it says
Saquitas.
50 saquitas. I could probably have figured that out. Anyway, it should be slow and steady. We'll get there in the end.
Half a cup of water. You've done that before, haven't you? That's really good. Well done.
Thank you. Like you like the technique?
Yeah. Is that for Glasgow as well?
Well, you're fast.
What can I say?
It's not your first sachet.
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 What's a sachet?
Okay, we got there in the end, and Kimbo is claiming it for hers.
It's mine.
It's her.
Because it takes too long, you can get the other one.
Okay.
All right.
And
This
you
seems like a lot of sugar.
We're getting there.
Oh look, there's loads of pips in there.
What kind of pips?
Nothing.
Nothing pips.
Nothing pips.
All right, well, this was a lesson learned.
Don't buy the sachets.
Don't buy the sachets. Or the sachets. Okay, I think I have brown sugar upstairs.
Salt?
Upstairs. I shall go get it.
Haha. I am the lord of the garlic.
Are you? You never told me. It seems like something that's important to share with your friends. What's this you have?
Oh, it's a jalapeno. It's direct from your garden.
Really?
Yes.
Extra flavorful.
Extra flavorful. Can't wait to put it in the sauce. Get in.
What's that, Kimbo? Fun fact found on the internet?
Fun fact. It is believed that the Chinese were the first to cultivate plums. And plums have an important place in traditional Chinese culture. Even Confucius paid tribute to them in a poem where he likens their beauty to a loved one. Would you like to hear the poem?
I would love to hear the poem.
The branches of the aspen plum, to and fro they sway. How can I not think of her? But home is far away.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Recipe the first, in the pot, ready to go on the stove. Well done. High five. Recipe the second. So far plumless. The plums are here. And hopefully the pot is big enough. Have you seen my plums?
You've got some nice plums.
Thank you. Oh, wow. I thought, wow.
Hello.
Wow.
Yay, it's perfect.
I totally thought at least 10 of those were going to spill out. But,
Ta-da!
amazing. Okay,
Done.
so I guess we just stir it up, stick it on the stove. Cheers. Smells good.
That's the spice. And the jalapenos, really, you can really smell the jalapenos.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good this year. So there were so many recipes on the internet and they were so different. Many of them were very strange. I became overwhelmed. Kimberly came to the rescue with 2 recipes. They're kind of close enough that they're similar. I feel like it's a good test.
I feel like close enough and similar mean closely the similar thing.
They mean similar things.
Yeah.
I think it's a good test. If we find one that's better than the other,
Then we will tell you all. Okay.
it smells good. Yeah. Okay, it's blendy time, and my money is on this one. The one that I did.
I did it!
Even though Kimberly did most of the ingredient prep.
And I chose the recipes.
You make some good points. I feel like this one doesn't have any water added into the recipe. This one seems a little bit more liquidy. Okay, this is where we're at. As suspected, the recipe that I did, but mostly Kimbo did, is thicker. This one's a little bit more runny. But you know what? Let's see. But I have to let it cool down, and unfortunately, Kimbo is gainfully employed and has to leave to go to her job.
I have to go.
Thanks for your help.
You're welcome.
So that was the plum sauce making efforts. I hope you enjoyed that one. I really have a lot of fun cooking with Kimbo, and it seems like she's making some regular appearances on the channel, and I imagine she'll be here in the future as I continue to process more food and make some more stuff. Maybe you can hear in the distance, the tractors are out in full force today. I've got one on that side and one over there, so forgive the noise, but I wanted to describe the day that I had when I put the camera mostly away and blasted through a whole bunch of jobs. I started by heading over to Sinead's yurt deck. She went off on a weekend trip and had a couple little things to do before the guys could continue on with the deck build and varnish it. So I went over there and I did some sanding for her one of the days, and it was enjoyable. I really love that she and I can help each other out and that we're so close. So it's gonna be fun times ahead. Seeing this yurt go up is gonna be amazing, but also just being able to chip in and help each other is what it's all about for me. I think that community is important, and having one of my best friends next door is gonna be really amazing, so I was happy to help her out with that. I also blasted through another 4 kilos of plums. I did do a sneaky taste test. I decided on the recipe that I liked the best. The recipes are both below, and you can read in the description which one we chose. And I just decided to use more plums because I have so many of these things. I still have 2 gigantic bags of them, and I'm not sure what I'm even gonna do with them. So I made more sauce and I water bathed it. That's a canning method, so I can make it shelf stable and it'll last a really long time, and it's something that I can give away to friends, trade, or possibly even sell. So I've got plum sauce to last the ages, and it's delicious. Canning stuff and making it shelf stable is really useful because my fridge has slowly been dying a death for the past couple of months. The freezer was working, so I was putting ice packs in the fridge to try to keep it going, and now it just seems like the freezer's dying and the fridge itself is dying as well. So I needed a solution. I've been trying to find a repair person, but I still need some place to put the stuff that I have in the fridge currently. So I posted emergency messages to some of the Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups that I'm in, and a guy just around the corner had a small fridge for sale for 50 euros. So I went to collect it, stuck it in the back of the car. It just about fit, and it's working fine. So that's a massive relief. So fridge collection, fridge moving was another little task that I got done. I also finally covered up the base of the polytunnel that I put up recently, just to anchor everything into the ground and solidify the whole structure. Burying the frame in about 15 centimeters really does go a long way to making this thing strong, and the polytunnel that I have on the top terrace has been through some serious windstorms and it's survived, and I attribute that to sticking it in the ground just a little bit. So I got that done, and I'm hoping that I can use that space to have all of my garden stuff and separate things out so things are easier to find, and so I can reduce some of the clutter around my land and hide it within the polytunnel, which I'm hoping won't become cluttered like the top one. I have spent a little bit of time lately tidying things up, and so the clutter isn't quite as bad as it was, but it's still easy to see a space and fill it up with crap. So I'm hoping I can exercise some restraint and not go crazy with filling this thing up, because this polytunnel is where I'm going to overwinter my peppers when the colder weather comes, and I'll need space to put all those pots in there. So Sinead ordered a giant bag of sawdust to use for her insulation on her yurt floor, and I've been coveting that sawdust because I want it for my garden path. So she's done the insulation part of the build, there's some sawdust left over, and I spent about an hour and a half going back and forth with the wheelbarrow, taking the sawdust and putting it along the garden path. And I still need probably a whole other bag, so I'm gonna order that pretty soon, and hopefully I can get these garden paths finished, because the black fabric is great, but having the sawdust down on top of it just helps suppress the weeds even more, and it also looks really cool. And as I was working in the garden, I was pulling some weeds out as I went, trying to keep my mom happy, trying to keep everyone out there happy who hates to see these weeds popping up. So I'm trying to keep on top of these weeds better than I have in the past, and having the sawdust down on the paths is really going to help me with that. Another easy win in the garden is putting straw down on the garden beds with cardboard underneath. It really helps suppress the weeds, and it looks so much better than having the bare dirt there, and it also helps keep the moisture in. So I did a little bit of that as well. And then after a long and really productive day, I met some friends at the lake. It's not all work and no play around here, and we enjoyed some sundowners, sitting on the grass, enjoying the cooler temperatures, and it was just a lovely end to a really nice day. Good morning, everybody. It's a new day. It's quite glorious out here, and I'm ready to get started again. Yesterday was extremely productive. It's amazing the stuff I can get done when the camera goes away for a little while. It's nice to be able to just blast through some work and feel like I'm making progress on stuff. And finishing the day off with some friends at the lake was a wonderful end to a really great day of work, but I made a very silly mistake. While I was getting the sawdust from Sinead's place and wheelbarrowing it back and forth, I decided I would water my trees on the bottom terrace at the same time. So I put the hose on my pear tree. That was the first tree I was gonna water, and the idea was gonna be that I would change the hose to a different tree each time I passed with the wheelbarrow. Did I remember that I put the hose on the pear tree and turned it on? I did not. So I basically left that hose on that tree overnight, and, well, not overnight. When I got back from the lake, I putted around, did some stuff, and then I was in bed, and at about midnight I remembered that I'd left this hose on. So I came down and turned it off, but it drained my tank completely, and I'm wondering what it's done to this poor tree. So the tree is looking okay. It's actually thriving and doing really, really well. It's taken a big jump up this year. But one thing about this tree is I had pears on here maybe about a month and a half ago, loads of them. They were about this big, and I was robbed. I don't know if it was birds or what. Maybe I need to put some shiny stuff on the tree next year, possibly throw a net over it. I don't really know. But I was very surprised and very sad to discover that, because there would have been probably about 50 or 60 pears on here, and it was looking really good. What's looking less good, and maybe not happy about the water, is the comfrey. I don't know if it would have changed this color overnight because I drowned it, but there would have been several thousand liters of water dumped in this area when I forgot to turn the hose off, and surprisingly, the ground isn't really that spongy, so must have just sunk in. It's never a bad thing, really, to sink water back into the ground, but perhaps 3,000 to 4,000 liters in one spot might not be the best idea. And amazingly, the tank has actually almost completely filled back up overnight. So I plugged it up at around midnight, and it's only been about 12 hours and it's almost full. And that basically goes to show that my tank repairs worked for the most part. There are a couple leaks, but they're not really affecting the actual tank too much. So that's wonderful. I'm surprised. The water flow in summer obviously slows down quite a bit, but the tank is almost filled again, and I feel like that's a good opportunity to empty it out again on the trees and get to work on something that I wasn't going to do for a while. But since the tank isn't completely full, and since I still need to water the trees, I'm going to get to a project that I've been delaying. But before I can get to that job, I have to empty the tank just a little bit more. So let's get this on and move the hose around the bottom terrace. And I thought it would be a good time to give you a tour of the trees, because it's been a little while since we've been down here. But first, let me get the hose off of this pear tree, because it's definitely had enough of a drink. So let's start over here. I have a peach tree. I think it's called Spring Flame. And it has one beleaguered looking peach on it. I don't really see any other ones. The tree itself doesn't have leaf curl, which is great. There's a couple peaches over here, 3 more. But it does have some yellowing leaves. So I'm gonna have to really dedicate some more time to learning about fruit trees. I've kind of been lazy on that. It doesn't take really much to look up what's wrong with them and try to find a solution. But it's a little intimidating, I suppose, and I'm always busy with so many other things, but it is quite important to keep my trees happy. Happy trees, happy me. Over here we have a clementine or tangerine tree, I think. Got some little babies on the way. This tree is really springing up to life. I probably need to prune it in some way to open up the middle a little bit more. And yeah, it's looking good. And these are actually very, very delicious, so I'm excited to see lots of those on the way. And also exciting is the fact that this tree has sprung back to life after my mom pulled off loads of curly leaves. So there's still a few. You can see a few more up there. But it's definitely not anywhere as close to as bad as it was before. So I'll come down here and give that a bit more attention. Maybe lop off some of the bits up there. But the most exciting part is the fact that it's got some peaches on it. And I'm wondering if they're almost ready to eat. So I'm going to pick this. I've never seen this type of peach before I moved to Portugal, but they really are very tasty. You wouldn't think they would be because they're sort of harder than the average peach, but they are really delicious. Over here I have my Japanese pear tree. So it's sort of like a mix between an apple and a pear, and it's doing really well. I think I probably need to prune this one in the middle. I've actually put a string to pull the tree back because it was really drooping over in this direction. So it looks like it's straightening up a little bit, and that's really good news. And then over here we have my most exciting tree on this terrace. It's Peter Pecan, and he is doing very well. I actually thought he might have died over the winter, but he has come back to life from being a sad-looking stick in the spring, and he's just looking really, really good. As is the comfrey that surrounds him. I love comfrey. I've mentioned it a million times. It's a great plant, and it's good for just chopping and dropping and using as mulch, as well as making a fertilizer out of it. So as you can see, we've got lots of wispy grass around. This stuff doesn't bother me so much because I can still walk around, but it definitely gets a lot thicker over there. And that's just because we've had loads of rain, and all the trimming I've done has been for nothing because all the grass is back in full force. And then over here I have my weird pear tree, my 2-dimensional pear tree. Somebody in the comments suggested that perhaps I accidentally bought a pear tree that was meant for, I don't know the word, espalier or something like that, where you actually grow pear, apple, and probably some other fruits along sort of a fence. So you're meant to take these bits down and steer it along a guide, and it allows you more growing space. But it was never my intention to have that system, and I would really love to find a way to get this thing to be more 3-dimensional. So maybe I have to get some sticks in the ground and some ropes down to pull the bits out. I really don't know. It is a hilarious tree, but I have a feeling that all the stuff growing bunched up vertically together isn't necessarily the best. So if anyone knows how to take a 2-dimensional pear tree and turn it into a 3D version of itself, do let me know in the comments. And oh, my second favorite tree, actually no, I lied. This is my favorite tree on the terrace. Peter Pecan is a close second. It's my lime tree, and this thing is producing like crazy. I think last year I got about 10 limes off of this bad boy, and this year it's looking like it's going absolutely nuts. And that's really great because I love a good mojito, and I love lime pickle, so I'm going to try to make some of that at some point. The comfrey is going really well down here. You think I didn't love this tree because of the neglect. There's loads of grass around it, so I'm going to have to free this guy from the grass and give it a bit more love and care. But yeah, it's doing amazing, and I'm very happy to see that. Another tree that's doing really well, but definitely could use some propping, is my apple tree. I guess I didn't learn anything from the plum tree. I did thin this out quite a bit, but obviously the apples have gotten a lot bigger, and the tree has gotten a lot droopier. So I'm going to pick this guy. That one's looking pretty good. I've been eating the apples off this tree, but this is the biggest one so far. They're delicious, so I'll try this a little later along with the peach. And I'm going to come down later today and prop these branches up as well, so this one doesn't meet the same fate as the plum tree. And this is where things get a little nightmarish. It's lovely down here. It smells like mint, but this stuff in here grows like crazy, and I think that's because the well leaks. It also means that the orange tree does pretty well. These oranges are incredibly delicious, but as you can see, I'm not treating this tree very well, so I'm going to come down, and just give my trees some attention and give the place a trim and a tidy. I'll probably do that on a different day when it's not so hot, but this definitely needs some love from me. The well is in there somewhere. I've probably got grapes growing. Can't really get in there to check, but these vines have always done pretty well. I think they're wild vines. And then over here I have the final tree on the tour. Ooh, but first, my place is covered in fennel, which is really, really nice. I should cook with it more often. This tree didn't do much for me last year. I don't think I had very many oranges at all, maybe just a handful. But this year it's looking pretty spectacular. So it looks like I have lots of oranges in my future, and that means lots of freshly squeezed orange juice, which is amazing. To me, that's what it's all about. Just being able to come down into the food forest, pick a piece of fruit, do something with it, make some juice, eat it right off the tree, actually. That's a good apple. And yeah, grow your own food and just have produce that's just right at your fingertips. I love that. That's why I love gardening, and that's why I've planted a food forest. So I've got lots of delicious things in my future from this bottom terrace forest and the garden, and I'm really excited for that. But right now, it's about watering the trees, emptying the tank, and getting to work on the project up there. So this concludes the tour of my food forest for July 2024. So I've had a little break. I went to the post office where I collected some very exciting things that I'm going to share with you later on in the video. I met my friends Billy and Roger, who run a lovely place called Quinta de Barraquinha. I'll put the link below. And I realized that today I'm not going to be the only crazy fool working with cement. They're going to be laying a floor for a future barbecue. And I am going to be working in amongst the spider webs, sort of under the deck, trying to finish off the front wall, hoping that it stops some of the leaking that happens there, but basically also just to make it look a lot more finished. So I've got some bricklaying in my future. Let's just get to work. I've got the mix ready to go. The water's down here, all the bricks are out, and I'm just gonna dive right into the work. Okay, I put a little bit more work in. I'm done for the day. I'm at a mix, and I'm very happy with it. I feel like I have one more day of work in to finish it off, get it all plastered. I've got some more stuff to put under there, and I'm hoping this solves the water leaking out the front on this side. I've had to leave some room to screw the fittings on and off, so that's why that's all sloped like that. And yeah, overall, I'm very happy with it. But the weather's been really hot, and it's been a tough slog to do this work today, and I'm happy I pushed through it because I've got buckets of sand and bags of cement around the land that I want to work through, and just ticking off little jobs like this, or at least working towards getting them done, is very rewarding, and I'm just happy to see the front of that tank kind of looking a little bit better than it did before. And it's been a long video, so I'm gonna say goodbye from this one from my deck. Lovely space. I'm probably gonna get into the splash pool a little later, and then I might even push on with some pointing work because this water tank doesn't often get emptied in the summer. It's only empty because I made a mistake and left the hose on. So now that it's empty, I feel like I wanna keep going with the work. So my plan is to relax in the pool for a little while, floating around in the hoop, and come back tonight for a push to do some pointing work on the wall of the tank. And I don't need the tank to be empty to do that work, but it just makes it easier because I don't have to worry so much about lime dropping in the water, so I can clean things up much easier. So that's gonna happen tonight, but it'll come at you in a different video because this has been a really long one, and I'm gonna wrap it up. But before I do, as I mentioned, I picked up some exciting things from the post office. So I went to the post office to check for some mail, and I had some mystery packages waiting for me. I had 3 packs of these string lights and a pack of sandpaper for a new sander that Sinead bought recently. These were gifts from my Amazon wish list, and I just think it's so cool that people actually went on there and gave me some birthday presents. So that's wonderful. The lights seem to be really high quality. I've already got some strung around my tree. They're super robust. I'm really happy with those. And the sandpaper is just one of these things that you just always need. So I've got some big things on my wish list. I've got some small things there, and I think it's really cool that people have, yeah, bought me little birthday presents. So I want to say a big thanks to Eleanor, Sharon, and Debbie for the lights, and to Andrew for the sandpaper. It was a lovely little surprise, and it really made my day going in there and seeing those packages. So thanks so much. And if anyone else out there wants to send a little gift my way, the link to the Amazon wish list is below in the description. But enough of that stuff. I'm gonna say goodbye from this video. It's been a long one, but hopefully a good one with all kinds of stuff in it. I feel like I got a lot done in these past couple of days, and I'm always excited to share it with you as well. So as always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give the video a like, share it around, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.